What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In this episode, we're checking out some billet parts for the R35 GTR. More specifically, the front diff housing and the rear diff cover. So this here is the Linear Engineering billet rear diff cover. It will essentially provide additional strength and rigidity to the transmission housing. These have been known to fail in high horsepower applications where I've seen instances where the rear diff has blown up, taken the side cover out, as well as cracked the actual transmission housing as well. The last thing you want to do is crack the transmission housing because Nissan doesn't exactly sell a replacement. You essentially have to buy a brand new gearbox. I'm not sure if you can actually repair the cracked gearbox housing. Maybe someone can chime in the comments if you can, but obviously it's better to prevent than to go through the pain of trying to repair one of those. Anyway, let's have a look at this a little bit closer. Here's some B-roll. Okay, so the next few things we're going to look at is for the front diff. If you have over 1000 wheel horsepower, this is something that you really want to consider. The stock front diff is pretty strong from factory, but I've seen instances where they've lasted at up to 1200 wheel horsepower for a number of years in drag racing and roll racing applications. But it is somewhat of a ticking time bomb. As with any factory parts, there is a few weak links and a few areas of concern that you'd want to address before a catastrophic failure. When these fail, it can either crack the housing and take part of the engine block with it, or destroy the crown wheel and pinion and crack the housing. A friend of mine sent me these photos. This was from an off-street drag racing event that he recently attended. He's been racing the car for a long while with a few drag events and regularly attends roll racing and has over 1300 wheel horsepower. You can see he cracked not only the housing but destroyed the crown wheel and pinion. Here's another example. This particular photo is from a Facebook page where the front diff housing had smashed and caused some additional damage to the block and surrounding areas. It's a bit of a chain reaction as you have a number of components that could be damaged, including the bell housing and steering rack. You could get lucky and only damage the diff like in the first example, or be a bit unlucky like in the second example and smash a few other components while you're there. So if you're planning on launching the car with relatively big horsepower and torque on a sticky track like a drag strip, then I would highly consider upgrading these, especially to billet units. What we have here is a billet front diff cover and housing from Boost Logic, and a Linear Engineering side bearing. This particular unit will be assembled utilizing a quay front diff with a Linear Engineering billet crown wheel and pinion, as well as the Boost Logic components mentioned earlier, and this should see a huge improvement in strength over stock, as well as eliminating some of the flex that you get with the stock housing. The Linear crown wheel and pinion is said to be 50% stronger than the stock unit as well. Having these will give you some additional peace of mind when launching or racing your high horsepower R35 GTR. That's it for this video. The next few videos will be covering GTR Festival Australia, which is happening this weekend. So I can't wait to share all the highlights and action from that. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.